This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing. I usually do a 10-15 minute intro, talk about what I did for the weekend, which we are going to flip to the end of the show because, quite frankly, I went on a little bit of a fishing bender on 5 or 6 different lakes, fished a couple different tournaments with a bunch of different guys, had a good time. Anyway, we'll get to that at the end. We'll also get to Patrick Walter's 22-pound bag on Smith Lake. Bookend it with like solid limits to win. I believe it's either his 4th or 5th NPFL title. And we will have Patrick Walters on later today in a special NPFL championship edition of BTL. But every once in a while, we get the chance to get a guy who just did something special, but he's on the back-to-back tournament trend. If you saw the Best on Tour schedule that just came out, there's like 6 tournaments every single week, whether it's an Open, a Toyota, a Pro Circuit, a BPT, an Elite Series. There's major tournaments going on, and our guest today won a pretty major one this past weekend in basically a day and a half and in like 6 hours of fishing, and had 70 pounds on one of the most famed fisheries in the country. And really, I think all that the shortened event did was keep him from winning by a larger margin and maybe catching a 30-pound bag for a third consecutive day. But the scope goat is in the house. Actually, he's on the water. Aaron Yavorsky, thank you for jumping on BTL. We've got like an 8 out of 10 cell signal. I know you've got a day and a half to practice for the Toyota series that's coming up. And if there's any indication on what you do in Florida, especially on the first Pro Circuit event of the season where you led and dropped a 30 bag, you've dropped the 30 bag twice on Santee Cooper. Like, you're on a roll right now, and I would imagine that you're planning on doing the same thing this week in the Toyota series.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm out here on Kissimmee Chain right now. Just got down here after yesterday filming day 5 for that Pro Circuit event. So I think I got all of today and a little bit of half tomorrow maybe. I think we got to be off the water at 2:00. But yeah, down here in Florida, first day. I haven't been out here in a while actually, since the Open in January. But these places change all the time. Can't really like ride around and look around and like see. You know, you got to like put the trolling motor in and actually fish. So it's super time consuming.
All right. We've had a string of guests on BTL over the last couple months, and several of them have called me sir, which is quite disconcerting to my mortality. You said, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. When we set up the interview, 19 years old. If the name sounds familiar, you were the youngest and I don't know how. I mean, I guess it could be B because you have to be 16 when you join Bass. 2023 Bassmaster Team Series Championship, where they're like, hey, fish together, now go beat each other. And then you did just that, and then you fished in the Bassmaster Classic on Grand Lake as an 18-year-old, youngest to ever qualify for the Bassmaster Classic. Now you just won on Santee Cooper, so you got a Classic under your belt. You're going to have a Red Crest under your belt, and you're not even 20 years old. Dude, that's freaking badass.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I don't know. It's just crazy. I think we need to get it fact checked, but I don't know. I was talking with a buddy last night. I wonder if I would be the youngest to qualify for Red Crest and the Classic.
I was looking into that, and I know Jody White was looking into that, so we'll have to check it out. By the way, how was it spending day 5 on the water with Mr. Jody White? I'm a good friend of Jody White. Was he poking you for information? Was he trying to get some juice that he could throw on the water there? How did it go?
It
Oh,
was good.
dude.
We it was kind of tough out there, and there was like bluebird skies, like slick home. We caught like, I don't know, 4.5 pounder, and Jody, Jody, Jody's got a hook set on him. I gave him my rod. We were just chunking the minnow around, and he freaking set the hook like we're dang flipping some mats or something. I had 8 pound leader on there, and it was probably a 6 or 7 pounder. He dang broke it off.
Oh, I'm gonna have to give
But
him crap about that. All right, let's get into the tournament. I don't want to keep you for very long. I know you got big bass to scope and mats to punch and lily pads to look at and all sorts of stuff out there in Florida. But I want to pull this photo up really quick from the Santee Cooper event, and I just take a look at that. There is young Aaron Yavorsky at 19 years old on Santee Cooper, throwing 8-pound test on a leader on a spinning rod, catching 67 pounds of Santee Cooper bass and winning the event by 7 pounds. How times have changed over the last 10 years. Talk a little bit about how you found that pattern and how you were able to put a minnow to use. And it sounds like everything came in the scope period for you.
yeah, I'm actually on Santee Cooper. Put the boat in the water, doing practice. I launched it in a east side of Lake Moultrie. Had like 30 to 35 mile an hour winds that day, so I just put in on the protected side of the lake and just kind of drove around, looked around, was getting a feel for the lake. I did some research. I use a lot of like AI when I'm researching just new bodies of water. But there wasn't really much that had given me other than Lake Marion has a lot of stumps and it's hard to get around. And Lake Moultrie isn't too bad. So I did not want to deal with that, especially for the first time being out there. So I just rode around day one of practice, and it was cold as all get out. But about halfway through, I'd start figuring out like this offshore like stump brush pile kind of deal at like the mouth of these ditches. It really sets up like some of them lakes over there up in Texas, like Sam Rayburn, some of them highland reservoirs where there's like big ditches, brush piles, huge bass. But I had figured out that they were staging up in like at the mouths of them ditches on some brush piles in like 15 to 20 foot of water. I caught like a 6-pounder on my first cast on one of them. There was like 4 or 5 others with it down there that came up, and they were all about that size. Like, it's pretty interesting. So I rode around the rest of the day and just scanned using side scan because that's like my 1-2 punch. I feel like being down here, side scan and find stuff. So I just rode around, marked as many places as I could. And it was decent that day. I think I had like a little over 20 pounds, not fishing too hard. And day 2 came around. It was the calmest day out of the 3 days we had. So I put back in a Moultrie, just ran around the entire lake, covered the whole lake in that day. Found, I'd probably say 20 to 25 piles and stumps. Granted, not all 20 of them were really loaded. I probably only have like, 2 places that had, I don't know. There's probably 30 fish over 6 pounds on both of them.
And could you see those on side imaging, or is that something that you found with forward facing, or would you side image it, notice that there was a stump or something there, then drop the trolling motor and really kind of explore it after that?
Yeah. Like when I would scan over them and like when I would see them for the first time, if they were loaded, I could tell like, oh yeah, there's a lot of fish in there. Like I couldn't tell, how many or whatnot, but when they're loaded like that, you'll know right off the bat when you side scan them. And then if they got a couple, that's kind of just when, after you side scan them, I always fish them, using active target or whatever. And then you could actually see what's really down there. But them couple loaded ones I knew before I even dropped the trolling motor in that it was going to be pretty good.
Were those were just pre-spawn fish that were sitting there. So you literally had, it sounds like based on the article and the way that I watched it go down, you literally had like a school of giant mega pre-spawners that were like, we're going to hang out here before we go shallow to spawn. And if a minnow, say around 6 inches in length, comes around this stump, we're going to get that extra protein.
Yeah. That is crazy. Like, I am not even kidding, like 30 fish over 6 pounds sitting there. And like during practice, when I found out, I'm like, I pulled up there and I didn't even make a cast. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is about to go down. And it was like pretty sunny. And it was that day we had, not really any wind. And I chuck a hinkle over it. And I literally had all 30 fish just like follow to the boat and not even bite. I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to be interesting. So I sat there for another like 10 or 15 minutes before I even got one to bite. And I caught my first one. It was like just under 6. And after that, I left and I pulled like the whole group. I basically busted the whole spot up. I didn't really think nothing of it until like the last day of practice. We had like crazy winds. I put it in Marion for the first time.
I bet that was fun.
Oh, yeah. But listen to this. So I got out there 2 hours in, and I hit a stump just like out randomly, and I'm like, wow, yeah, this is not for me. And put it back on the trailer, right back to Moultrie for the last couple hours.
So in the tournament, then you would, they had the cancel day, so you would take off. I would assume just follow. I fish it open there, Aaron. So I know the same thing. I was a little puckered up as well. It was the first time I was there. So you follow everybody out of the creek basically, and then you have to go like left around that, and you're like, okay, I guess just follow everybody there. And then you get the big line of big poles, and you're like, okay, now I know I could get across. And then you just follow it all the way down to the canal, and then you're like, whoo, made it. We're good to go and catch fish. And that's the extent of that lake. Yeah,
no, you ain't kidding. It's like I put in that day, we had like a southwest wind or something. So I put in down there near the islands, and it was a ways away from like the main river channel. So I was just running out of that creek up there, and that's when I hit that stump. And the day before, I seen Carter Nutt, who also fished the event. He posted on his Instagram. His whole motor, he hit a stump. His whole motor came off his boat.
Plus, you got a brush pile with 36 to 8 pounders on it. You don't need to be messing up that bass cat because you just have to get to him. Like, it's game on if you can get to him.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty sketchy. Brand new boat. One thing, I did not want to tear nothing up.
Let's go to the press release here. Like I said, I would love to get you on after this to really kind of dive into some stuff. You've mentioned some interesting things. You mentioned maybe a little bit of AI. You obviously have a lot of history. You've been catching this. You got a high school fishing. Let's just read this sentence from the first day. Day one, I pulled up to one pile and they were stacked. I caught 35 pounds in 30 minutes. And end of sentence.
Yeah.
Was it? I mean, they didn't follow it. They didn't leave. Like, it was just chuck your minnow down there. Boom. Over 35 pounds. Thanks for coming out. See you next year.
Yeah. That day one, we had a huge fog delay. They let us go. The first day was canceled due to wind.
Yeah.
And then day two, we had a fog delay until they called boat one at 11:04. They gave us an extra hour, so I was originally doing at 3:30, which changed to 4:30, which I was actually happy about. I didn't practice for any like no scope or anything, so I was like, sweet, I'm gonna just go out here for 3 hours. That's all I plan on fishing anyways, and I'm gonna do what I can do. So I pulled up to one place. I started on actually that had like 5-6 pounders on it, and they bit pretty easy in practice. And I went there and they had actually left, and I turned my scope on there, and then I ran to that pile that had like the 30 fish over 6 pounds. I knew they were hard to catch in practice, like I had said, so I didn't know what was going to happen, but I pulled up there and I let off a little ways away from the pile, and there was actually like 4 or 5 fish that were kind of roaming around the pile before I even got up to it. And I cast my minnow out there, and they shot up like they ain't never seen a bait before. First one I caught was 6.5. And as I was reeling it in, with the power brakes, I was just going backwards, like backing away. Them other 3 or 4 fish. So I cast back out there, the other 3 fish, and they just all came up again and caught another one, another 6.5. I'm like, wow. So there was 2 more down there, 2 or 3 more down there. Threw that one in the well, and then those other 2 wouldn't bite. So I got up to the pile, and they were just loaded in there. We had fog. It was, barely a mile or 2 of visibility with the fog.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that had something to do with it. There was a little bit of wind, and I was just using them power brakes to just sit. I didn't have to have my boat slapping against the water with them rollers rolling in there. I could just sit there, cast downwind, set up on the pile right. But I caught a 4.5. Once I got up to the pile, threw that one in the well, and I caught a 4. And then, this all happened within like 10, 15 minutes. And then I caught a 7.5 to fill my limit. I think I had like 27 or 28 pounds. I just weighed them all at one time once I got 5. And then, like, my next cast out there, I caught another 7 and got rid of that 4. And I was like, all right, I need to just get rid of this 4.5, I guess. And it took me about 10 minutes, and I caught another 6.5.
Okay.
And then they came around with the camera.
Okay. I'm very rarely at a loss for words here, Scope Goat. But I am here because I'm hearing you sit here and just chat. You're 19. You had never been there. You hit a stump. You said, screw it, I would get along here. You made this tournament win look easy in a field of guys with a lot of experience on Santee Cooper, with adverse conditions, with wind, with a fog delay. Were there not other guys that were slinking around that area looking to get a little bit of minnow on stump and brush pile action, or did you have that whole neck of the woods to yourself?
I kind of had it to myself, especially with the fog. You really couldn't see barely anything out there. When they took us off Marion, there was decent visibility, and then foggier after we took off, and I got down there the Moultrie, so you couldn't really see anything. There was a couple guys around me. I think Mateo Tirano, who finished second, he was pretty close to me, just fishing, some stumps that were in the area. But other than that, I don't think anybody really was around trying to do what I was doing.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. Peter Cook says it sounds like you just got lucky. But I would like to point out that we opened the show with noting that you're the youngest to qualify for the Bassmaster Classic. You are also leading the Pro Circuit Angler of the Year. You led day 1 of the first day of the season in Florida, and you made the EQs and almost made the Elite Series last year. You're also fishing Toyotas, Pro Circuits, and Bassmaster Opens this year, and you've weighed in 7 or 8 sacks over 30 pounds in 4 different states. That doesn't sound like it's luck to me. And you go by the moniker Scope Goat.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about it, dude. There's a bunch of guys that are coming out of high school that are wanting to do this. We've had there's been a bunch of anglers, kind of started with that Trey McKinney a couple years ago where you saw it. There's a bunch out, but are you the next generation of who is about to come in and just kick ass for the next decade? And how many more Scope Goats are coming up in the high school ranks right now?
Yeah, there's a good amount. I don't know. You got Trey McKinney, and I mean, there's a bunch, 20, 21-year-olds on the Elites, Bass Pro Tour. There's a bunch of high school anglers coming up that are super good. All them college kids, they're super good. That college program, they got 250 boats every tournament, and they're all good at scope. and you could see them just coming up out of the ranks. I think that Sam Rayburn Open, there was a good amount that placed top 10 in that. I know Brody Robinson.
You don't have to remind me of that, Scope Goat. That's how you finish 72nd. How did you get that nickname? So I'll say this, and I think it was either you or your dad actually emailed me before, but I promise you, everybody in the industry knows who you are, even if it is just from the marketing of the Scope Goat moniker on your Instagram handle. We all were practicing at Rayburn last year, and we get back after the day, and there is a Scope Goat business card under every windshield of every truck parked in the tournament that you're fishing in. And we went back, and I'm not going to lie, like, we were impressed. We were all like looking up Scope Goat and being like, dude, that takes some balls, man. That was cool. But it was like it was a business opportunity that you saw. So how did you come up with the nickname? And are you excited that it has taken off to the level of which it has in such a short period of time?
Yeah, it was back in like, I think 2022 is when it first came around. It was somebody commented on like an Instagram post that I'd seen. I don't remember who it was or what post it was, but it said something in there like Scope Goat something, you know, and that's kind of catchy or whatever. And you know, so I did some research or whatever. I was like, this could kind of be a cool name, you know, for a business. You know, everybody's got like, you know, their name and then fishing after it.
Yeah.
That's just a little bit boring.
Aaron Yavorsky _ fishing doesn't have the same ring as Scope Goat.
Right. So I just was like, oh, I'll just, you know, have a brand called Scope Goat. You know, I like scoping. So that's just kind of how it came around. And then, you know, I made it, you know, an LLC and stuff. You know, actually
Little bit of business mind. You don't just drop the trolling motor and scope up big uns. You like to think about the off the water stuff too.
Yeah. But no, that's how it came around. I mean, nothing too crazy to it.
Are you pumped that it's like it's taken off, dude?
Yeah. Like some, you know, people will come up to me and just, you know, what's up, Scope Goat? You know, I'm just like, hell yeah.
But you know why it's taken off is because you've caught them. Like if you're the Scope Goat and you're constantly like 180th, that could like backfire on you too. So like it's not like you came up with it and that's why you're known. It's because you've been catching them.
Yeah, that was the only problem we would have if that started happening. if we were placing, you know, 180s, 200s every time.
Yeah. Have you received a severed cow's head on your doorstep yet from Randy Blockett?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Waiting for it.
All right, let's get to the baits, and then I'll let you get back to practicing. I appreciate you giving me this 20 minutes of time. I think you might have them there. We've got enough of a good cell signal that we might be able to get it. It might be a little bit blurry, a little bit Sasquatch-ish, but let's give her a shot. Giant minnows for the dub.
Yeah. So it was just like a one deal kind of thing. Y'all can see this here. We got a 6 cents. This is a 7-inch. This is a Shindo shad. This is their new, you know, hot on market minnow that they make. They just came out. They had the 6-inch out for a while, and then they just released a couple weeks ago the 7 and 5-inch version. So I just had this rigged up. You know, nothing crazy or standard. This is an 1/8 ounce ball head jig. I think this is like the Queen Tackle Ghost.
Yeah, that looks like a 3-aught in it though. That's a big bait, small hook. A lot of you big minnowers don't like a giant hook in that. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yeah. This is actually, I think this is a 4-aught if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think. I mean, when they get it, especially with how big them fish are, you don't need like a huge hook, just enough to get it in them. You know, the smaller the hook, the easier it is to hook them with it, you know, just because it's less that you got to penetrate. You know, keep your drag super loose. and just like kind of reel down into them and just pull. Nothing like hard hook set or nothing.
Okay. Why the 8-pound test?
This is Champagne. That's just what I use like down here in Florida. Like today, I mean, it's just what I have tied on year round. Even though we have like dirty water down here, a lot dirtier than anywhere else. You never really know when that line size is gonna matter. So I just always run an 8-pound leader.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you weigh in 30-pound bags around stumps and trees and Santee Cooper and Florida and all that on 8-pound leader.
Yeah, it might be like it's a thicker diameter. It's just Berkeley trilene. So it's probably maybe like 10-pound with the diameter, but it's not any of your crazy, JDM or your super thin diameter line.
How many days a week are you on the water, Aaron? Like, I mean, are you fishing nonstop now? Are we done with high school? Are we in college, or are we taking the Tucker Smith route where we're like, we'll try it, but we're winning too much money, so we're gonna go beat up the pro tours for a couple years. Maybe we'll get a honor at bachelor at some point after we're multimillionaires from bass fishing.
Yeah. I spend as much time as I can on the water. I don't really like to sit around or any of that crazy stuff. After I was 24, and didn't go to college last year, fished the Open, so that was a pretty busy. I went in like pre-practice most of the places, and missed the elites. I think by like 12 or 16 points. I had
pretty close.
Yeah, EQ got me pretty good. And that's actually our next place we're going for the pro circuit. So I don't know how that one's going to be. I think I learned more from doing bad than actually doing good. So
yeah,
it might help. But no, it's a pretty busy schedule this year. Pro circuit and Toyotas and Opens. After this Toyota, I got to get this Bass Cat wrapped, and I'll be hanging up on Classic with these and stuff. And right after the final day of weigh-in, I got to leave, and we start practice for Wheeler the next day. And then right after that tournament, we got a few follow open, and I come back down here after that, and we got the Roland Martin Marine Series. I think I get a little bit of time off, but I'll still be fishing. And, it just starts all back up again.
You're living the dream, dude.
Yeah, pretty much just traveling around the world, young age, and fishing.
Drew Gill says he likes the 3-hour scope period because when you're a master at it, you can do all your damage in 3 hours, and then you lose a lot of your edge when other guys have 8 hours to catch up with what you can do in 3 hours, and that the 3 hours actually makes it easier because the average guys don't have time to catch up, and you go do your damage, and then their scope period's over, and the deal has already been done. Are you on that same page?
Yeah, after Harris Chain and after Santee Cooper, I could definitely see that. Like after Harris Chain, I had already seen it. You had to be like super dialed in the 3 hours, like during practice for Santee. I just was like, I'm gonna just dial in like exactly what I need to do, because you can't just go out there and like be like, okay, hopefully, there's some fish around here that'll bite. You got to know exactly, what your game plan is, what you need to do in the 3 hours. But yeah, I think like Drew Gill said, it's a lot better for the guys who are like really good at it, because, when you're doing that, you really only need about 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. And your weapons of choice are active target 2, Lowrance's, and a ghost trolling motor. You're all Lowrance on the Cat.
Yep. A lot of people, some of them super scopers, they run them Ultrexes and stuff. But the Ultrex, just from my opinion, it's got like a really loose foot pedal. With the Ghost, this is the new X version that I got put on this boat. All the Lowrance Ghost foot pedals, they're like pretty tight. So you could kind of make like super small adjustments. Arrow's really good on it, and Active Target is a lot better than Garmin.
All right, Scope Goat. I do a show every year where I do the top 10 live scopers in the game. I've done it for the last 2 years. You get a panel of experts that are on. Last year, I think, is going to be a lot different from this year. With that moniker of Scope Goat, I want you to give me, off the top of your head, the top 3 scopers, active targeters, whatever you want to call it. That's kind of generic. Top 3 scopers in the game right now across all circuits, all levels, your opinion. You feel free to include yourself if you would like to too, but just your opinion on the top 3 guys like that you look up to and you go, that's a man who knows what he's doing up there looking at the old active targeter scope.
Yeah. First one that comes to my mind has to be Drew Gill.
Smoked him this past week, Aaron. You smoked him.
Yeah.
Didn't have
Drew
a chance.
Gill. I know, but if you look at all
I'm joking.
Yeah.
But you did.
Drew Gill. Man, there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah. Would a Trey McKinney be up in there in your top 10, or would you go more with one of the Nut brothers, or are we talking about a Bank Shaw maybe that slides in?
Yeah, Bank Shaw was on my mind. I think he's one to put in there. Trey's good. Trey's really good with it. He's just he's hammer fisher now.
He is good at everything.
He could go up shallow. He could go scope. But I guess with the way he's been going, you got to throw Trey in there, just with how he's been finishing.
All right, there you go. You got shot this week?
I don't know. We ain't caught a bass yet today.
Okay, then I need to let you go. I've kept you 10 more minutes than I was supposed to, Aaron.
You're good. We're gonna go out here and try and find them though. It's a little windy, but we'll see.
More information, you can follow Scope Goat Fishing. You do like some instructional stuff if guys want to. I mean, like you have the business, you kind of do all of these things, and you don't just fish. Is that correct?
Yeah. If anybody has any questions with anything scoping advice, just holler at me. I'm glad to help.
You're the man. Congrats. Enjoy it. Is that like your first? Well, I was trying to think if you won. Did you have? Is that your first big check? Like the big cartoon cardboard one? That had to be cool to get your hands on.
Yeah. First like pretty much major win other than that team series down at the Harris Chain.
I mean, pretty major. You went to the Bassmaster Classic for it.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So. All right. Good luck. I would not be surprised to see you at the top of this one, too. You're on a roll. You know what you're looking for, and you're in your home state of Florida there. So, Aaron Yavorsky, a.k.a. the Scope Goat, on BTL live from the water, practicing for the Toyota coming up. Thank you, dude.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
All right. See ya. Take it easy. There you go. All right. A lot to unpack. That is a man of confidence. And you look at that field, and it still cracks me up when people say, oh, yeah, he just turned on the box and caught him. Well, yeah, he did. But long standing in this sport, in my opinion, there are thousands of people who can catch him. There's not that many who can find him. Big difference in that. You have to find him in order to catch him. And the fish aren't everywhere. Otherwise, everybody would have 30 pounds, or everybody would ever have what the maximum is. Everybody would be in the same thing. You have to have the combination of the ability to catch them with the ability to find them and the ability to make adjustments, because fish have tails and sometimes they swim and they're no longer where they were. And the best guys in the world are able to figure out where they use those tails to swim to when they're not there, or where they were before they got there, and then where they swam to and where they found them. We have like all sorts of stories. I think we're going to get Tom Brubaker from Fishing Chaos. Like, it's not the only tournament going on. Like yesterday, the BTL for St. Jude Fishing Chaos tournament kicked off. We've got over 100 guys out there battling it out for 45 days, March 1st through April 15th. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, if you're planning on fishing for bass at all between March 1st and April 15th, you need to sign up. 100% of the proceeds go to benefit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. It directly goes to the team of Adam Bartuzek and me as we raise money to fish in the Dick Hiley St. Jude Bass Classic Tournament. Is a tournament that has raised over $9 million in its 25 years. Fishing Chaos, I partnered with them. I don't make a dime off of this. They don't make anything off of this. I said it's good publicity for them. It's a way that I can raise money, and my team and our team can raise money for St. Jude, and we can bring all the BTL listeners and viewers together for a friendly competition. We'll pull up the leaderboards. There's already guys who have caught giants. There's a weekly big bass and then north, south, and big 3 region. We'll talk about that. Also, I had one of the most wild tournament days, like one of those days, and I want to talk about that when we get back. Like just one of those days where you get off the water and you just shake your head and you were like, did that really just happen? It is BTL on a Monday. Big shout out to Aaron Yavorsky, the Scope Goat. Check him out on all the social media. Dominates Santee Cooper weather shortened event, 67 pounds, giant minnow on brush piles. Made it sound pretty easy. Like, I mean, you go out there and just grind and grind and grind, like 99% of us does. And it's interesting. You get inside the head of these guys who are catching them. And it's not just the scope guys like Hackney's done it, Brower's done it, Polinick, the guys who like where it clicks and they get it and they're like, yeah, it's like, so it's like easy. Like, obviously, like, see that row of bushes down there? Like, they would be in that because they spawn behind them and it's time. And then like you just went down the bush and then caught them all. Like, why didn't you fish it? We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Before there were hashtags, there were handshakes and shared stories. They gave us confidence to make our first cast and chase our dreams. They taught us to fish, and in the process, taught us about life. They taught us that success isn't just about reaching the top. It's about lifting others up. The future isn't just about selling tackle. It's about 3 simple words. Let's go fishing. Here's to the original influencers.
As a professional angler, there's only one thing that connects you to your paycheck. Probably the most crucial part to tournament bass fishing. I use Sunline because they have a line for every application. Shooter, FX2, All Might, super light line, big stuff, big sticks. Sunline has you covered.
Sharp as can be. Super strong, super durable.
Really good penetration.
Thinner and stronger.
Catch fish after fish.
I want to make sure that I'm using the best stuff possible.
World's finest hook. World's finest hook.
Gamakatsu, world's finest hook.
Hey guys, Brian Schmidt here with Spro. I'm going to talk to you about the confidence I have in the equipment I use. You know, I have a charter boat business back home in Maryland. We fish for saltwater fish, and I also fish the Bassmasters Elite Series. So I keep my lights on by fishing. I have to have a lot of confidence in the equipment I use. Spro has me covered from head to toe, saltwater, freshwater, everything in between. A lot of high-end quality product. Spro has you covered.
When I'm in a tournament, conditions are constantly changing and every second matters. With the Deep Dive app, I can instantly pull up all the current lake conditions all in one spot. So no more looking at weird government websites. In just one quick glance, I have water clarity, water level, wave forecast, it's all right there in the Deep Dive app. Download the Deep Dive app and get all the tools you need to put together an awesome tournament.
All right, welcome back. BTL on a Monday. I was gonna maybe wait to tell the story if someone else was on, but like, nah. This is a wild story. I'm gonna leave some key parts out. So anyway, this past weekend was the annual. It was like Sooner Bass Club Open tournament on one of the crazy lakes down here. Cranford won it last year with 43 pounds. There's a 35 with a 10. There's a 35-pound bag with another 10 that got second. And then I had 3 for almost 25 with another 10 and got third. This was a year ago. So I feel bad for the guys who came in that tournament with 35 and a 10. They didn't get big bass because Cranford and me both had bigger bass than them. And then they just got second too. Anyway, it was shaping up. It was shaping up to be like fairly similar. Like Cranford just dropped a 41-pound bag out there on last week. And then I went out on Friday and we're going to fish a tournament again. I fished with my buddy Juice. There's like 9 things that happened in this tournament. It was freaking nuts. And it was just, you have to have these every once in a while just to appreciate when things go well. Long story short, warm nights, thought it would take 40 plus to win. There'd be like 5 or 6 potential mid-30s bags in this event. Scope, non-scope, glide baits, stuff like that. They were just biting, big ones. And so get there, starting spot in this tournament, very key. These big fish aren't everywhere. Draw the third to last boat out. So 37 out of 41. Okay, we can handle that. Get to the first spot with Juice. I'm like, that was a bit, there had been a lot of fish here. There's no fish here. Go to the second spot, jump up, drop the trolling motor. My buddy I'm fishing with goes, what's that floating in the water behind the boat? I'm like, oh, that's my life jacket. I've got one of those Spro inflatable life jackets, and you have to carry for every inflatable you have to carry a regular life jacket. So you had 2 regular life jackets, and I had an inflatable. Anyway, I spin around, and it was like one of those expensive ones that they'd hook me up with for fishing the opens. I gave it to all the pro staff guys, and I'm like, ooh, at least it didn't. I spin around, I'm trolling back towards it, and it's just an inflatable life black floating on the surface. I said, at least it didn't. And as soon as I got it out of my mouth, poof, one side. I'm like, son of a gun. Go down to pick it up. Boom, other side goes off. So I'm like, there's $100. There's $100 cartridge. Then go to the third spot, and I've got a total of 4 tied up koikis in correct sizes and colors. I mean, this brush pile has it's like a scope goat Santee Cooper brush pile, except it's in Oklahoma. It's got 6, 7s, 8s, 10s on it, and they will do everything but eat it. So I said, I'm gonna slow float that koiki down to them and then twitch it. I said, there's not a fish on the planet that can resist that, apparently. So I break off a koiki in a brush pile. That Juice, roughly at the same time, gets an Alabama rig hung up in about 6 inches of water because he didn't know there was a flat behind. And so now we're down a life jacket. We've drawn last, a life jacket, an irreplaceable koiki on a prototype hook, and an Alabama rig. So we go to a little limit hole and put 4 in the box fairly quickly, and we're looking for that donkey, and finally see it. I mean, glowing orb, looks like as big as that. Like if the box that you're looking at is the screen right now, it's set out at 100 feet, and like, boom, that's how big the fish looked. Except it's like shaped exactly like a bass. You can see the fins, separation between the body and the tail, guaranteed 9 to 12 pounder. And flip my stuff over, comes up, and it was like a jig bite, like a 3/4 ounce flipping jig bite, just dong. And I said, I got her. And I mean, leaned into it. And it was it was violent head shakes. You could watch it. Woo, woo, violent head shakes. Peels drag for 2 seconds and just comes off. Like, I don't think I was able. I think when it hit it so hard, it closed its mouth on it, and I was unable to get hook penetration. Then it went open its mouth, and I said, well, that, we had like 4 for like 7.5, 8 pounds. I said that would have given us 18. And by then it's like 12:30, 1, and we're like driving to a spot. And this is where things get wild, where we take a lot for granted in what we do with the high performance machines that we run, with safety, with just freak stuff happening. I'm rolling up to a spot, and I come off pad, or there's a boat that's probably 100 yards away, and he was kind of idling towards us, but then he stops and it starts to circle. And I said, I didn't know what that boat was doing, but it was out in the middle idling. And then I looked at Juice and said, I don't see anybody in that boat. And he's like, yeah, I don't see anybody in that boat either. So we like turn and start idling towards it. And then you see like a hand in the bottom of the boat of like, hey, like I need some assistance. So we go over there, and there's a gentleman. I get super in the details. Basically, like, where it was there was a lot of boat traffic that day. So the way it was explained was he had hit a rogue boat wake, and then hit another one, and had like launched him out of his driver's seat. And when he landed in the bottom of the boat, there was things got a little sketchy. Basically, like, there's like a 12-volt battery, I think, in the bottom of the boat, and he landed like directly on his back on the 12-volt battery, and was unable to like feel or move his legs. So he had called 911, but hadn't told them where they were. So I called 911. They brought the police boat out, and police boat came. They got him back, took him to the hospital. Hopefully he's doing better. I do know, like, by the time when the paramedic like squeezed his leg, he said that he could feel it, but he couldn't move at all. So it was just a crazy reminder of a freak accident. So that took a good chunk of time, which no big deal. I mean, we weren't catching anything anyway. And then we go to the next spot, and I'd fished the 2 previous days and had gotten a little cocky with the Pro Guide battery, since you don't have to charge them very much, and everything went dead. So I was able to get like just a little bit of recharge power, get the poles up, because then we were stuck in the water because I had the poles down with the power brakes down. And we got those up, and I looked at Juice, and Juice looked at me, and all I said was, chuck him. And he threw our 4 fish back, and we put it on the trailer and went and got Mexican before the weigh-in even started. That's just one of those days. Like, you have those days where it just, everything goes wrong, but it was also kind of scary during that day. So then yesterday, jumped in we didn't like save him. It was weird though. We were like first out there, and he said he had been out there for like 20 minutes because you just don't stop on that, and he couldn't like stand. He couldn't move to get his hand up. So, and then the next day, so then I come home, and then yesterday went out and fished with Kevin Ledoux. Dude, every once in a while you just have one of those fun days. We had 19.5 pounds with a 5.5 pounder, called 5 or 6 3-pounders. A tough bite on a different lake. Thought we had it won, and we did the old nutmeg job. First out of the money and second big bass, which gets a thanks for coming out. But that's that. Friday, though, God, I did go on a bender. Friday, I started on that lake, caught a couple fish for practice, and then I drove 2 hours, and Zeke and I put down an absolute beat down on 2-pound crappie. So I want to see. Here we go. All right. Let's talk BTL Bass Challenge for St. Jude. It opened up yesterday. I'm looking at the leaderboard, and already measured on the BTL leaderboard is the longest fish that I've ever seen weighed in Fishing Chaos. Tom Brubaker is with Fishing Chaos. He's the one who got all this started. You've had him on before. We're going to answer some more questions. Tom, am my eyes deceiving me, or is the Dalton Albright's 27-inch largemouth from Region 3 going to be a tough mark to beat for Week 1's Big Bass? I got no audio on Tom. Okay. I think we had this problem before. Did you click connect to audio? I got no audio now. We'll take a break, have Tom come out, and then we'll come back in and we'll talk about the Fishing Chaos tournament because it is alive and well. There's over 100 people signed up. We have Big Bass. We have Region 1 and Region 3. We'll actually go into the app, show you what it looks like, and show what you need to do if you've been on the fence with this. You still got 44 days to fish it. So I'm going to kick Tom out, and then Tom will come back in with audio. Boom. Tom's gone. We have 3 more commercials to run. Then Tom will be back in, and we'll talk about the BTL Fishing Chaos tournament for St. Jude. It's BTL on a Monday.
At Beat Down Outdoors, we know you depend on your gear to hold up in any condition. We built for that. We test for that. In fact, we pride ourselves in that. Because we know when the time comes to test your gear, you aren't going to take it easy, so we won't. We build premium, made-in-the-USA products that you can rely on in the moments when your equipment should be the last thing on your mind.
I fish in some of the worst elements across the country. Spring, that's a giant, dude. Summer, oh my gosh. Hi, look at that thing. Winter, it's so cold. And fall, got a big one, that's awesome.
Being comfortable and staying dry is the only option.
AFCO, any fish, any water.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9.9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
All right, welcome back. BTL on a Monday. We'll see if Tom Brubaker from Fishing Chaos has audio now. How about now?
Can you hear me? We good?
Oh, I totally got you.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, that's on me. It's on me, dog. I didn't have the Bluetooth connected.
No, it's all good. I kind of want to restart the segment so this can be like a standalone, like little 10-minute deal that we could do it. So there's about 200 people that are going to hear. All right, I'd like to welcome in Tom Brubaker from Fishing Chaos.
What's up, Matt?
We're going to talk about the BTL benefiting St. Jude feature tournament that kicked off yesterday on the Fishing Chaos app. I'm going to share my screen now. That is the Fishing Chaos app right there. You can see these are the featured tournaments. It starts out here. You can just scroll over to it. You can click on it. $25, 100% of the proceeds go to support St. Jude. Big shout out to Fishing Chaos for working with BTL and St. Jude to get this done. We can see exactly how many people are in it, what it is. And we have people on the water that are fishing, including Dalton Albright, who has a 27-inch largemouth on the board. Now, can everybody see this stuff, or is this just me? Can I click on that stuff to see the fish, or is that just me that can do that?
Everybody can see it.
Okay.
Go pull that thing up.
This is the cool thing about the Fishing Chaos app. So when you do this, you measure your fish, you put it in, And you can go in and see like what your competitors are catching. Like Andy can go look at Josh's fish and see if he's on a smallmouth or a largemouth bite, but he doesn't know where he's catching them or anything. All he does is if he has his state in there. So Dalton Albright kicks things off. A 27-inch black bass in the first day. Is this thing confirmed?
It's not technically confirmed, but it will be confirmed. That's a valid catch.
This is a great thing right here. So these are all the valid catches. He has you have to have your if I look at that picture, you can see there's like a little
below.
Yeah, there's down in here. There's a little what is that? Not a moniker, but an identifier.
The identifier code. You can tell that Dalton is actually fishing like 1, 2, 5 different tournaments right now.
Yes, including the BTL for St. Jude.
Mm-hmm.
Look at his hand. Look at his hand on that fish. So
what do you think that fish weighs?
I would like to take a legal pen right here, and I'm going to put my hand on it. So look at how, like, I'm doing the same thing he's doing. I'll do it exactly like he's doing it. And this is like big, like this is broad, big, right? Look at how thick that fish, dude, that's got to be over 12.
That's got to be over 12.
That's got to be like that potentially could be a teener, Tom.
Yeah, I'm going to call him after this and find out what that thing actually weighed. But 27 inches that's ridiculous.
What is the longest fish you've ever seen on Fishing Chaos?
This actually, I think 27.25 is the longest I've ever seen. I don't know if that's actually the record. I have to check the database and see what the confirmed record is, but 27.25 is the longest I've ever seen.
All right. So if I go back to these, I'm guessing he's probably in Bill Dance's Derby. He's probably he's not.
If he's not, he should be.
He's probably in the striking. If you said he's fishing 5, but there could be some other stuff that's unrelated to Fishing Chaos too that he's in on there. But what he could be fishing is the BTL Challenge, the Road to the Opens, and Bill Dance's.
I'm gonna see if he's fishing those real quick. Yeah, but if he's not fishing, he's not fishing Bill Dance. He's not fishing Bill Dance. I bet he will be after this. Oh man. Well, actually, yeah, he's not in Bill Dance.
That's one of those fish that pulls the kayak around. All right. I've got some questions. Let's run over it basically to the BTL thing. You go to Fishing Chaos, you put your information in, you pay $25 plus like a $3 shipping and handling. All $25 goes directly to St. Jude. Then you are entered into it. Then once you're entered, you get this screen. This is either on your phone. I'm doing it on the PC, right? Tom, are we on the same page here?
Yep.
You can view your rules, which says, hey, this is what it is. This is how you measure your fish. You put your little deal up there. It shows the identifier. It says view identifier. I just took a piece of paper, a 3x5 note card, wrote my identifier on it, and stuck it in my boat for the 2 weeks that I've got it. Now I have a new identifier here. You can see on all of these pics, like we'll just click on him. You can see right there. You hold the fish, super easy. You put it in the board. You show exactly how long it is. There's your identifier. Boom, you're golden. That's all you have to do. You click submit. If you're in a place that doesn't have Wi-Fi or anything like that, as long as you have your location on when you take your picture, you get back to Wi-Fi, you got some time to upload the fish. It uploads. Then you say, oh, I wonder what happens. And you come back here and it shows you. And then after it shows you, there's like a little green thing that once it's ran through all your AI software and it's verified by your people there at Fishing Chaos and all that, boom, it's 100% verified and you're good to go.
Green
that way,
good.
if you make a mistake or whatever and do it. And Northern region, who was it who said, oh, I got to give it to the last of the boomers. He said, I shore fished in the Northern region yesterday for an hour before my rod guides iced up so bad that I couldn't clear them. And if you had called one, you'd have been leading the Northern region. So we have no one in the Northern region. We've got a hot start on the first day. Josh Howard, Andy Hood, Josh Howard leading the Southern region. And it looks like he wrote his moniker right there, like on his hand, but you can go through and see how are these. Okay, so are these the different ones that he's in? Oh, no, this is the region right here.
That's the region.
So, like, there's Josh's bass right there. An 18.75, which is a good fish. That's almost 4. That looks like a spotted bass to me.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah, definitely some spots. He's doing it right. He's got his deal on his hand that he's written, correct?
Yep.
He's got the board.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly can see that the nose is touching and what the tail is, and then he inputted it and uploaded it. And then Andy's fishing a bunch. So those are all his different codes.
Dang, Danny's fish, that's a specimen. That thing almost looks fake.
Which one?
The third one right there.
Yeah, that's a very nice. That is
that's a nice
17 and a half fish chunker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we've got a bunch of people fishing for the first day.
The northern region seems to be a little slow.
Well, half of it's still frozen. I knew it
Yeah.
would be slow. The northern region is up for grabs. If you're Connecticut, Delaware, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, we'll see if I know my Iowa, Kansas, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, Maine, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, North Dakota, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, or Nevada. Yeah,
Yeah.
half of those states are still in a blizzard.
Yeah. Yeah. They will start lighting up the scoreboard here soon. I have no doubt. And you've got, if you scroll down a little bit to well, maybe that was in Road to the Opens.
Yeah. And then here's the other divisions. So super easy, super simple. I actually talked to the tournament that I fished in yesterday. The guy, the tournament director is running it, said, "Hey, I'm signed up. I'm registered. I'm good to go." And then I was going to input my fish and realized I fished with Kevin Ledoux, who had an 18-inch bump board, and my fish was like a 20.5 incher. So
got to get the right bump board.
Yeah. And easy, like if you were to get one, if you're going to get into this and do it, and there's a bunch of good bump boards, and I don't know if Fishing Chaos is endorsing any bump board specifically, and I don't have one, but I'm going to order one after this show, is a catch board.
Catch. Yeah, but it's the trough style, so I mean it's easier to put the fish down in there without it moving around a bunch because it's not flat. It's got the edges to it, and then it's
that CATCH.
KETCH.
What?
KETCH. You're up to 183 anglers.
183?
Wait, hold on.
I thought I was at like 105 this morning. So unless there was just a influx of anglers.
I might be looking at the wrong tournament. I'm looking at when I was Road to the Opens. What are we at here? 105? Is that what you said? I'm going to go confirm. It needs to be at 183.
You do not need a 30-inch board.
Yeah. I mean, you could. Dalton Albright.
In all reality,
you're at
if you're fishing the big three, there's a chance you might leave some inches on the table at 25. But mere mortals will really, like if you're catching 25-inch bass, that's a freaking unit. I mean, maybe in Florida, some like Oklahoma, like I weighed in like some 7s and 8s that were like 22 inches, 21.5 inches, 22, 23 inches. But that catch board right there, it's on Omnia, the Catch Carbonate 26-inch measuring board. Is that what you would recommend? Is that a good one right there?
That is perfect.
I'd say
that's the perfect option. Best price too.
It is in stock. It is $44. It is less if you're an Omnia Pro member. And I believe if you use the code BTL10, you might also get 10% off at Omnia. And if you're a pro member, free shipping. And if you order it today, it ships out before 1 p.m. So that takes place of this and 5 nice features from Omnia.
We got 40-something days left of this thing. So as far as the goal, I think you had said one time your goal was 5,000, but then we bumped that up a little bit to 12,000.
We're talking about money raised
money for St. Jude,
not anglers.
We're at 2750.
Oh, we can get that to $5,000 by the end of the week. And then I think once April hits, I think those last 3 weeks, that northern division is going to be popping off. But here's a new feature that I'm going to do Every week we'll have that weekly Big Bass. That is a $25 AFCO gift code. So it goes directly to your email. Tom has on the back end who it is. Once that fish is certified at midnight on March 7th, if that's it, you win the $25 AFCO gift card. And then beginning the following week, the leaders of each region, we're going to see if you want to jump on BTL. Have the ability to talk about, maybe talk a little smack, maybe talk about a little bit of your strategy. I mean, the Southern region, you're competing against a bunch of different states. The big three is California, Texas, and Florida. So get out there, fish. I got an email from one of the gentlemen who went and used some of his day 3 experience or day 4 with Frank Scalish to take the lead for a brief amount of time. Dude, there's some good that big 3 region is stacked. It always is.
It is stacked. It is
27,
stacked.
22, 21. But the Southern, I think I had 108 inches and caught him pretty good. But right now, I think it's wide open.
Yeah. Well, and to go road to the opens, I looked at Dalton in there. He's got 3 fish and he's in 5th. So if he gets a couple more in there, and this is public waters only. So
public waters only, artificial baits. It's all there. You can do it right here in the rules and see where the rules are and what the rules are and what the prizes are as well. First place in each for the 5 longest, it's $750 total. It's $250 cash and then a $500 prize pack from St. Jude, or from BTL sponsors, AFCO, Sunline, Strike King, Lose, Gamakatsu, Spro, all pitching in for prize packs. In addition to the cash.
And you got a weekly winner. So, don't give up hope if you can't catch 27 inches. There's more weeks to this thing.
This is a little bit of a behind the scenes question. I know we had talked about making sure we put in there that you can only win the Big Bass weekly winner once.
Sorry, Dalton.
Is that in the rules? I didn't read
it. It is in the rules.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So Dalton gets the 25, but here's the good news. Once the 7th hits, and if someone beats Dalton, a tip of the cap. But you think that's one of the top 5 longest fish ever weighed in Fishing Chaos history?
I can't confirm that, but that's for me personally, it's the top 2 longest that I've seen. So I'll go back and get
a tip
the
of the cap.
data
But
on that.
once Dalton is out of the picture after he gets his $25 gift card or his gift code, then it's back to wide open.
Hey, somebody can still be 27 inches. There's some big old Texas bass, some Florida bass. Somebody's got it.
Dude, any fish that gets outside of Florida, any fish that gets that big is potential state record size.
Yeah. Yeah. Which there was a state record caught in Tennessee this week.
That's the first giant one like that. He's saying that weighs 5 pounds like that. Dude, look at that. That is not a 5-pound fish. Look at my hand in that. That's like a fish of a lifetime.
If that was a 5-pounder, it would have to be the thinnest fish, paper thin at that length.
Am I missing anything out on this? Is there anything that we need to have in? We're going to check in with you on a weekly basis too on BTL just for 5-10 minutes at a time. Just do a little update, have the leaders on, and get after it.
No, I think we covered it, man. There was a lot of big fish caught this weekend just on the platform. There's the Texas team trail. There's a team there, 43 pounds that it took to win that tournament. So tournament fishing's back. It's got me excited. Got the Classic in a couple of weeks, but it just feels like after, I don't know, it feels like it's been a very long time since we've had this many tournaments going on, and there's over 1,000 of them across the U.S. that are active right now on Fishing Chaos. So a lot of things to get in on.
I love it. One of the other things that I would encourage you to do, you can fish both, and then we got to wrap things up because we're going to do a turnaround show with Patrick Walters, the NPFL dream killer.
Yeah.
This crushes everyone's soul. So there's this one Strike King Road to the Opens, qualifier 1. just go in, read these. If you have fish tournaments, if you have any desire to fish tournaments, if you want to take a flyer at it, this is a really cool thing that Strike King is doing. They're doing a series of online tournaments that then qualify you for in-person tournaments.
One in-person tournament.
Which qualifies you for an in-person tournament, which then the winner of that paid entries to the Bassmaster Opens in 2027.
Paid entry, a little extra cash with that too. And you can win cash and prizes the whole way too. I mean, like through the qualification. They also have their Big Bass Challenge, their 3 in-person tournaments. And I think it's the top 5 in each hour are all qualified for that championship. And then you have the 3 month-long nationwides as well. So really cool tournament.
And you don't have to win. I think you have to finish top 25 in
top
each
25.
division.
Top 25.
So,
yep.
And how much is that? It's very, very cheap.
$20.
$20. So you can do the St. Jude and then make the opens to where guys like the Scope Goat can smoke you by 20 pounds.
Hey, somebody's gonna have their dreams come true on here. We're gonna be talking to them when they're holding a classic trophy, and they're gonna say they qualified through an online entry tournament, which that'll be so cool. Yeah.
All right, Tom, thanks for jumping on. I'm gonna wrap up the show, but just wanted to get you on. If you have questions, you can email matt@basszone.com. You can also get onto Fishing Chaos. I've seen in the app there's been a lot of questions. Amanda, yourself, a lot of people are on there answering the questions on that, all the rules, all the forms. It shows you how to take the picture. It's intimidating for me at first. You literally take a card, you write the code on it. It says it right there after you register. You stick it in the boat, you put it on the measuring board, you take a photo, you hit upload, then you look at it and you're like, holy cow, there's my fish. If I catch a 21 incher, I'll move into third. If I can cull my 18 incher with a 19, I'll move into second. And then as it gets closer to the end, you'll obsessively be checking it and you'll be like, that damn Jim is fishing again. He fishes every Tuesday and he always adds to his weight, because you can see the leaderboards and all that right there.
Yep.
So you're in a tournament. Yep. You're in a 40-day tournament, 45-day tournament. And we're going to race.
Somebody beat Dalton. We need to beat the Dalton Albright challenge. You know what? I'm going to throw it out there. Whoever beats Dalton Albright.
$10,000 to $15,000 for St. Jude. Whoever beats Dalton Albright, what?
I'm gonna mail them this reel. It's been used twice. It's a custom pro.
Whoever beats Dalton Albright in this week's Big Bass.
Yep.
If someone that is currently registered or that registers before the end of this week catches a fish over 27 inches.
I think if anybody, not Dalton, because he's out of the contest now, but throughout the rest of this competition, if somebody beats a 27 incher, I will mail you this custom pro. Unless you're a righty, and then I'll send you a right-handed custom pro.
You heard it.
Throwing it down.
You heard it.
Let's go. Love it. I'm going to jump in there, Matt.
Are you going to sign up?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
We got Austin Cranford is going to jump in. Kevin Ledoux. I'm going to try to talk there's a couple other guys that have jumped in. You're going to see some big names. You're going to see some big names pop up on that leaderboard here pretty soon.
When's Matt going to pop up on that leaderboard? I see you're registered.
I am registered. Once I don't forget my 25-inch bump board. And then the day before was not March 1st.
True.
When I was out, so it's just yesterday. All right, thanks, Tom. You're the man.
Thanks, Matt. See you.
All right, we're going to wrap things up. We're going to just fire the machine right back up because we got Patrick Walters. We got the 2 winners of the shows. And we'll be back in like 10 or 15 minutes with another live BTL. We'll talk to everyone later. See ya.